man. But first thing catch you in the world, boy. Oh, Lord. My freak out on me. Freak right out.
Cameraman, he ain't get easy, buddy. He ain't get easy. I tell you, he ain't get easy. Welcome back to Life in Red and Black, Black and Red, whichever direction you want to put it. We are here. We are here again.
We outside.
Yes, and we want to first of all thank everyone who tuned in for our last episode, where Fabian and I talked about blending it till you get it right. The real challenges of actually meshing families from different places and spaces, and the real vulnerable stuff that we don't always share readily with people, but it's daily life, you know? How you feeling today, babe?
I'm feeling good today, actually.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, you know, see what we got. I like right things.
Wow. There's a little joke behind that shirt. I don't know, a little joke. That's what when I went on my first date with Fabian, that was one of the things we had a little joke about. So I asked him, so when you get to the end of the night, what would you tell people about our date? And he said, I like red things. So I said, yeah, I'm going to put that on a shirt for you.
Yeah, man. Sweet. So today we're here to discuss a little about more about the writing aspect. The writing school as well. Just to give persons a little more in depth on the school, the structure, how is it going, and
we've had a lot. Look, we have had so many calls, and it's been a pleasant surprise for us because we were a little unsure coming out of COVID, if people would have the disposable income. But I think what has happened to a lot of us in COVID, being in lockdown, is
that confinement. We wanted something to do, something different to do.
Come on, and possibly realizing life real short.
Yeah, so you
don't know
about everything that you can at the moment.
Yeah, so we had a real hilarious experience this weekend with my aunt. I gotta show Auntie Kathy. I have to show my aunt. We come from a family of bikers, and she decided to kick the bucket list, and she came and did a lesson.
63 years old, boy, and
it was her birthday.
Birthday lesson. She had a ball.
I hope she's recovered. It looked like it was quite physically taxing, but she's coming back again, and that's what's important. Climbing right back on.
Yeah. So we had yesterday. We also had another experience yesterday. We did a birthday package for a young man. He turned 9 years old yesterday, and it was an experience for us for Miss Queen Bee.
The Queen Bee. So we technically have two different schools. One is on its way to being launched officially, but we do some lessons at the moment, and that's for the younger kids, so from 5 to roughly about 9, 10, possibly 11, depending on the height of the child, and we're pushing on smaller bikes, right? And then we have the Black Knight Riding School, which is usually for older people, but we do have a couple of teenagers that are tall enough to fit the bike. Obviously they can't go on the road, but they do some lessons in the car park. And then we have 125, and we have a 700 and a 250. So it's building. But yesterday
yesterday we had a small group of the birthday guy and his two family members. Came out to support him and also to ride with him in his birthday adventure.
Yes, and it was interesting, well, we did not know at the time, but two of them did not actually know how to ride bicycles, and
that's something that we try to implement, especially with parents, letting them know that the child needs to know how to ride a bicycle without training wheels.
Yes.
And
but they were both determined. They wanted to experience it, and it was just the whole action of teaching kids, and then obviously for us, the body can be a little telling. So I think I'm gonna feel it later today. But we really had a great time. All the kids from the neighborhood came out. They all wanted to obviously use the bikes.
Yeah.
But we're not at that point yet getting there. So yeah, we want to thank the dad for supporting us, and we will be coming out with some packages soon. Just waiting for a couple of things to align.
Yeah, to put in place. So when it came to the adult school now, as Claire stated, we have a few teenagers who actually come to learn,
which is interesting.
Yeah,
because talk to them. Let's talk about the parents with that decision.
Yeah, because you know how a lot of parents are so afraid,
and rightfully so, sometimes,
of a child riding a motorcycle,
of anyone riding a motorcycle.
So that's a hurdle that we trying to get over. We try to show parents that the environment that we teach our kids as well as adults, we try to keep it as safe as possible. The way we teach is
responsibility first
before you actually ride the bike. You don't you just get on and ring each other and you move. No, you have different steps that you take, right? First and foremost, we run through the functions of the bike before you actually move the motorcycle.
Correct.
And you got to understand every function on the bike properly first. Then we focus on something that's really important, because the thing that is really important is the clutch control and throttle control and braking. So in the beginning, that is the first thing you need to learn or understand, that clutch, before you do anything else.
And the throttle, just both of them, the mechanism between both of them, you know. Just sort of tapping back to the parents. So we hear stories like people will come to the school, and I actually did this myself, but for the same reason, where they don't tell anyone that they're coming for lessons. They keep it a secret until the very, very, very end. Yeah. Because a lot of the reaction is, you can't get on a bike. You ain't bringing a bike in my house. Blah, 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 blah. I get that, right?
Bike is death.
I get that.
That's number one.
Yeah, I've actually heard people say, get a casket when you buy a bike.
Yeah.
However, as parents, we need to understand a few other dynamics with our kids. And the first thing is that children, if they're really passionate about doing something, the child is going to do it whether you like it or not. They might hide it from you for a little while, but best believe, right, whether that is biking, whether that is painting, whether that is smoking, whether that is swimming, whatever, they're going to do it. And I think that depending on what that is, obviously, if your child wants to smoke, you're not going to say, oh, here, take a cigarette. But when it comes to other activities that a child has a passion for, you want to sometimes know that teaching them how to do it the responsible way and the right way can actually be the lifesaver at the end of the day.
And we actually have our kids right now learning to skate. And we have a very great teacher that is teaching them.
You got to shout out Jade. She has done an amazing job with our kids in skateboarding.
Our youngest, he's only 7, and he's handling that skateboard like a pro. If you see him now. I mean, when he started, he didn't want to touch the skateboard. But the way she worked with him, and a lot of parents would be real, skeptical in allowing their children to even skate, right? That's another thing too. But to see the way that is being done and how he's handling himself, and is also building confidence.
So I'm going to stop Fabian there. We have a really interesting duo at the riding school. A mother and a son. We're not calling names. Right. Unless they specify, we're not calling names on the show. A mother and a son. The son is 16-ish. Or not so young, 14. She sent her son because he was falling back in school and the focus wasn't there. Not outright rebellious, but just not focused. And she spoke to his godfather. He was like, you know what? Let's try this. He's expressed the interest in it. She said she got a lot of kickback from people saying that it was a bad thing for her to do. And he's come, and I can be honest, right? This little boy was one of the best students that I've had so far. He listened to everything Fabian and I told him and followed it to a T, and has picked up so fast to the point that the mom has now come in and they're doing lessons together.
Yep.
And last weekend, when she was in the midst of writing, she turned around and saw her son on the 250, and the look of joy in her eyes, she was like, Claire, that's my son. I was like, yes, honey, it's your son. She's like, I just can't believe it. And she said, you know what? The boy getting up and getting his school things ready.
Yeah, when a child has something to look forward to,
yes,
it gives him that drive, that push to really try to achieve something that he loves. And then everything else will then fall into place.
Correct. Because he now feels confident. He now feels that he's doing something, that he's contributing to something, you know. And it was a real beauty to see. It warmed me.
Especially when, I mean, what hit home for me is that he's getting it done. Mm-hmm. And she is just showing that support, that she's actually doing it with him. Mm-hmm. And for me, looking from a child's point of view, knowing that my mother or father doing something like that with me, that would make me feel so good. So I know that alone too is was helping him now to even push further. So
and I think to kind of go back into something a little off the topic but still on the topic, I was reading a book about marriage and how to support each other's needs. And what she's doing is an example of that, because I think sometimes when you're in a relationship, whether that be your mother, son, father, daughter, or whatever, the video you showed me this morning with the father dancing on stage with his daughter, we might not always have a love of the same thing that the other person has. And it doesn't mean that we have to go off and do it to the same extreme, but when we feel that there's a genuine interest to want to know what the other person is doing, like how I've embraced biking and you've embraced art. Well, now you take over the show, but that's a different story altogether, right? You have to show that interest. So shout out to the mommy-son duo. We're really excited and appreciative of y'all at the school.
Yeah, very, very.
Yeah.
That's something nice to see.
Yeah. Then we had, I want to talk about one of the little boys that came yesterday. Because it also, so basically he couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
And
the reason he couldn't get it done because he never was taught how to ride a bicycle. And I know I got a lot of parents out there that would love to have the time to teach their kids certain things, but they just don't. Right? And
that's no fault.
You're right.
We have to work real hard.
Yeah. It's a difficult situation to manage sometimes. And I guess we seen it as a need from watching the guy yesterday and seeing he really wanted to do it, but he was really embarrassed that he couldn't.
Yeah.
But he just was willing that if we could have the patience to teach him, to learn to ride a bicycle, so he could get the stage to riding the motorcycle, he was willing to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So we actually, after that experience, sat down and said, you know what, we could come up with some packages where we could actually offer that to parents. Maybe we could give them that space.
So that's coming soon too as well. Look out for that as well. But it was a touching experience for me too. I'm a real mush. I know, a real mush. But it was touching from the sense that things that our kids really want to learn, we cannot underestimate how much it impacts their self-esteem when we grow into adults. And it's hard on parents. We have so many hours in a day, and there are parents out there that have 2 and 3 jobs to just to try to survive. But it's still really critical that we find time in whatever way, or find other people who can give the time if we can't, to help our kids develop. Yeah. So let's kind of wheel that back a little bit. Let's talk about the riding school, Black Knight Riding School. We had touched on it in an earlier episode when we talked about your experience as a biking instructor. Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, first of all, let me just say I've been riding a motorcycle for, this is 23 years now.
Mm-hmm. You sure it's not been like 50? No. He just rides that good. He rides that. Well, the man is badass on a bike. Okay, my husband, in my opinion, is the best bike rider in Barbados. I just have to say.
So I guess how I started, it was the reason why I started the school, as I mentioned earlier in one of our episodes, where you didn't have that resource where you can go to learn to write. And not like today you have all the YouTube channels where you have all different
firemen, somebody's a fireman.
Yeah, the fireman, twisted the wrist and stuff. You didn't have those forums where you could go and learn certain things, and then you didn't have the access to a motorcycle tool to try out these things, right? And then to a 401, it was another question too as well. If you actually would do that, and then to insure it, to road tax it, like everything was difficult around biking. So I wanted to bring something where to make things easier on the person who actually wants to learn to ride. And that's where I came up with this school. It was not as easy as I thought it would have been in the beginning. Because like what you get now, I used to get before, like that anxiety, like the body getting forward.
It's not easy.
Yeah, so that in the beginning it was like you can't do this here.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes as you grow and you learn from it. Sometimes when I first started, like seeing students not getting it and not knowing, not having the tools to show them how to do it, because you know how to do it, you automatically think that a person can get
Being good at something does not necessarily make you good at teaching something.
Exactly. I had to do a lot of training, self-training.
Do you know how shocked I was to find out, like, you ever realize, like, in big sports like basketball and football and stuff, the coaches don't play?
Nope.
And I can't get it understand, you know. I can now, but I could not get it understood.
It's two different. It's two different things, and it's amazing to see how they work, right? But yeah, I did a lot of research. I do a lot of reading. Then I do a lot of self-training in terms of going on tutorials and stuff to better myself at teaching. So I have come a long way. And honestly, I still learning as we speak too as well, and I still train myself as we speak, because the more advanced you get, the more stuff you can learn.
The technical side really starts to come out,
So, and then there's a lot of technical stuff in writing, a lot of math too in writing. Averaging and stuff that people don't realize.
I still haven't wrapped my head around that one yet.
So I've come to love it. I always love it, but I come to love it even more. Like seeing the achievement of a student writing, and from not being able to even take the foot off the ground. That was big for me. Yeah. My first student, Fabian, put her on me, and I was like, oh boy, all right. Fabian said, okay, babe, so today you're going to have somebody that never rode a bicycle before, and they want to learn to ride a bike. Pardon? Okay. But I tell you, it took us about, well, you'd done a little work with her from before, so it wasn't fresh. But it took us about five lessons. Yeah. And the day she got her foot on the pegs, I felt like a mummy all over again. So imagine how I felt when I had trained in China to be the first female drag racer in Barbados, and seeing her achieve that.
Take off, man.
Like, boy. I was dragging that day, and I wasn't even studying myself. I was just focused on her. Like her, she was what I was there for, right?
And I want to give you credit for something publicly that a lot of people didn't see behind the sidelines, right? If y'all have any idea how much heat Fabian got that day with the man go, you gonna let a woman come on, you bite. I beat you. No, my husband here. It was his first time too. He was rated an H2 that is like a monster on Red Bull or something. Yeah. And it was not his first time on the bike, but his first time dragging the bike. Yeah. So there was that, and then it was focusing on his student. And I watched my husband two students. Yeah. I watched my husband handle that feedback like a pro. Fabian did not flinch. And it brings a really important point to the table. I suppose for me it's to do with biking, but with anything else, the importance of remaining humble. You have to remember the power of the machine that you are on. What are the repercussions? And be humble. And you exemplified that in my eyes 100%.
That day was, I already had in my mind that day was not about me, right? But it was about a person that I was trying to put out there to show the world that that as a female, she can achieve
it. And she did it.
Yep.
She burned out that track, man.
Yeah,
I was like on the sidelines. I was like at the top, and I think I was like keeping the most noise. Coachella! Screaming all the way down. And then when the audience wouldn't do what they were supposed to do and get up there, I was like, "What are you doing? Let's win the show. Move.
Yeah, that day was really interesting for you. That day was really interesting, and I be honest, you're right. That much heat as I got, the guys that was writing after China did so good in her third run, did they want to race no more? They was like, "Oh boy, I get back out there. That's embarrassing, boy. A girl is beating with a bursting with a boxes,
bursting a tail."
Yeah, she came out third overall in that drag race.
Fantastic, great work,
and
great
that was I would never forget that day. That made me feel like what I was doing meant something.
Yeah,
right. Meant something.
And I think as a teacher new to writing, so in case you want to know how the writing school is structured, majority of students will start on a 1-5. Then they will graduate to who I like to call at the writing school master Shifu to do the finishing touches, right? And in the beginning, I was like, Fabian, why you want me to come and teach this? I mean, I'm still a novice in my own right, but my superpower is, I think I really, really feel people. Like I feel when somebody is frustrated, upset, happy, sad, you can see I'm I don't hide my emotions because I feel all those emotions. So I went through my own serious ups and downs when it came to writing, yep. Right? And the way they manifested was not, I didn't predict it because I can be honest, I learned on the 600 and I think I picked up quite fast when I was in the car park and whatever, I was doing my bits, but nothing could have prepared me for the total sensory experience of being on a bike on the road.
I remember the first thing catch you on the road, boy. Oh, Lord. I'm going to freak out on me. Freak right out.
Cameraman, he ain't get easy, buddy. He ain't get easy. I tell you, he ain't get easy. When I went on the road, and I can tell y'all, you see that piece of road going down BET Hill? Barbados government, right? Whoever designed that stretch of road, I don't like you. I don't like you. Nothing personal, but I don't like you. That road is just, I have traveled in different places. I don't know. The only place I ain't traveled that could possibly have a worse road is India, right? There's so many things. There's the cars coming down. There's the cars on the right. There's the cars on the left. There's the gas station on the bottom. There's the 2 crossroads coming, and it's just everything coming at you. Now, mind you, we went on a quiet day where there was hardly any cars on the road, but it was just, and it took me about 6 months before I could go on that road by myself. Yeah, I would do other roads, but that road there, So going back to dealing with students and understanding that there's a lot of fears that come up and appreciating that when we tackle a fear in one area, and it might not be bike riding for everybody, it might be something else. It might be public speaking. It might be learning to read as an adult. It might be all sorts. But when you tackle whatever is your greatest fear of some sort, the translation into, I feel like I get goosebumps. The translation into everything else that you do, you can't even put a price tag on that.
So it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
Because you facing a fear that is be blocking a lot of other stuff that will be going on with yourself. So for the time you could face that fear and achieve that goal, everything else seems so easy.
Yeah.
Everything, and public speaking was one of my biggest fears. One of my biggest fears, honestly. Right. So even doing this, right?
It's ticking it off for you too. Yeah. And I don't even know if we're sticking to the writing school because so many topics are coming up around this. But you begin to, so like one of the things that I teach the students when they're new is tuning into your inner dialogue and what are you telling yourself when you're trying to learn something. And you know what happens 9 times out of 10? We're telling ourselves, I can't.
Yeah, I can't.
Yep. I can't. You're doing this and you're like, oh my God, I can fall. Or then you start over analyzing, where's the clutch? Where's the throttle? And then you get throttle stick. So when somebody's not sure about the sensitivity of throttle and they go to press the brakes, because the brakes and the throttle are on the same side, if they rev the throttle too much, instead of actually letting go, they pull it even more, and then it's like, pa-ting, and it takes off, you know? And you judge yourself so hard to try to learn something new. You know what I mean? So it's like I tell them, you have to tell yourself, you have to psych yourself up. I had to tell myself every time I got on that bike, Claire, no, I ain't gonna fall, you know. Because you know when you tell yourself you ain't gonna fall, you gonna fall. You tell me, I can ride. I will balance. I will get this ride done. And you have to tell yourself that over and over and over again.
And everything you do in life, you gotta keep telling yourself so. Because that's the only way you can actually achieve it. So you got to keep reminding yourself in your head. And something I learned from writing, from practicing certain things, is to break down things in steps in your mind. Step 1, pull the clutch. Step 2, release the clutch. Step 3, pull the brake. You know what I mean? Break it down in steps so
that you can manage it. Yeah.
So if you try to think of everything one time,
you're
going to keep confusing yourself and making a lot of foolish mistakes, right? That you can avoid.
So for you, if you translate that to public speaking, don't go up on the stage pretending you was big band and you ain't even got the notes. You ain't have nothing. You can try to remember everything off the top of your head. No, you're not going to do that.
That's mess it yourself all the time. So you see, this is something I say to people, right, that come to the school, that not only you learning to write, right, but you learning to manage a lot of other stuff that's going on in your life. Because writing is teach you to always be able to focus and multitask.
Well, yours truly had a little issue with the multitasking part.
Because at any day, like, as a driver, you sitting behind the wheel. You could take your time and turn on the radio. You understand? You can roll up the window, turn on the AC. Even to make a phone call, point your lipstick. You know, fix it eyeliner, you know what I mean?
Talk to the children in the back.
Yeah, but when you're riding, you have no time to do anything so whatsoever. You always gotta be focused on the road. You all gotta focus for yourself and the drivers in front of you.
Every single person.
And also, not only the drivers in front of you, but you also gotta focus on like the gaps. Who can come with the gap? A dog can run across the road. You know, your reaction time is got to be 10 times more.
Oh, at least we forget. I had a first time experience of something which I saw but didn't see fast enough. The road. I will bet my life that most drivers do not ever look at the quality of the road that they're on. And something so simple. I was going up a hill and there was an ever so small patch of sand, like about this big, as I was turning. And the bike started to skid right out. And mind you, I wasn't going fast. I was not going fast. And the bike started to skid out. But I learned, you don't panic. You don't snatch brakes. Let the skid release itself. And then you can move off.
Yeah.
You understand?
So the attention is crazy. Even that, like, object fixation in terms of when they teach my students in writing, that has helped a lot in terms of driving. Because the first thing that's happening
not only in driving, boo, in everything. We always focus on the damn shit that we don't want, though.
Yeah. So that's a good example because, like, I have, and this in the past of driving, and I got in a situation where I got out of it by luck, but from getting out of it by luck, I realized what I did wrong, right? Which is I panicked one, and I was focused on just one thing and the object in front of me. And what happened is I was driving the crossboarding, and somebody was coming out of Lucky Horseshoe, and the road was wrecked.
Right.
So the person wait as they get as close as possible to say, all right, hey, come out. And come out. And then come out and stop in the middle of the road. It's like
the worst nightmare a biker could ask for.
So I was driving and they snatched brakes, right? And they're just looking at the person, right?
Like in a movie.
And what happened is I snatched brakes so hard, the car picked up a slide. But because my foot slipped off the brakes, right?
Oh.
And I pressed it again, the car stopped.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because the car needed to pick back up traction. Right?
Okay, right,
So
yeah, right.
So if you continue holding your brakes, it will not pick back up traction. So if you release it and press it again.
So like, did you literally go?
Right. And start right with the person. I say that to say that, like, opposite fixation. Another thing that I should have done, which I teach my students, is that I look for the space.
Yes.
You understand? Because it's not every time you'll be able to stop like that. Because it's the fact that it happens so quickly. Yeah. So you always have to look for the space that you can get through.
Yeah.
When you see people driving again, a situation going on the bend, lost control, cut rock,
boom.
Right? Look for space. Like, all right, our space. Let me try to get there.
Yeah. Even if you might end up crashing in between space, exactly. But it would have been a better option than crashing like, on the wall.
See a pole, like pole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, always a piece of space. One thing that I keep reminding my students too is like when you're riding on the road, you're filtering. You have a lot of drivers that don't study bicycles, motorcycles. They don't study anything. They're studying cars only and in front of them. So like they see a space to turn right. The car let them turn right. Then see people filtering coming down. They can just pull right. Like you never remember make sure it clear enough. So in situations like that, you don't want to continue straight.
Right.
Or can you may not have enough time to press the brakes.
To break up.
So what you do, you turn with the person.
And ladies and gentlemen, again, I beg you up enough today because I learned real things from you, honey. Real things. That saved me in an accident at Graham Hall roundabout. Fabian's voice, we get this frustrated, so I think calling, yo, babe, man, I never crashed today, boy, and I hear your voice loud. And it's true. I heard Fabian's voice in my ears. I was on the inside lane, a Taurus or H car on the outside lane, and we heading going towards the Top Rock gas station. And I tell a voice in my head say, boy, Claire, this car not going straight. And we were before the roundabout, and I just tell myself this car ain't going straight. And so said, so done. As the car get there, and I gone right round the roundabout.
So you got
nobody. Nobody in my entire time of driving. I got my license since I was 16 years old, and nobody ever had that conversation with me before.
Yeah, trail braking. There's a lot of stuff that people don't teach you in terms of even driving too as well, like trail braking. Counter steering. Like you go around if you're doing like you're driving fast and you're getting around corners, you're keeping your steering straight. Now there's a technique in driving. You're getting around a corner, and you're doing numbers. I'm not saying that you should be speeding. But you shift the handle like this.
Okay, you're going around the corner, right?
So it's like
you mean you're shimmying? It's like you're shimmying
the wheel will always have traction. Because if you ever lost traction, getting around holding the steering wheel, that's it. So doing speed, rally drivers do it when they go around.
Right. Okay. Okay. No, I'm actually seeing that in my head because they go around and they're like,
Same thing right
I thought that was just for style.
No, that's not that. So like, even riding a motorcycle, they call the steering the same way. Because people think that riding a motorcycle, you turn your hand.
Right. Yes.
You push and pull. Push and pull. So they call the steering. That's what you call the steering. Push and pull.
Okay. Right.
So, and then picking lanes is another thing that I teach my students. How to pick a lane, cornering and stuff. Like people just say, all right, go on the corner and go out the road and come back. No, you have to teach people how to pick lanes because picking lanes is very important at riding a motorcycle too as well. Right. So there's a lot of stuff that I teach my students, and I reason for that is that I want that when you leave your school, you graduate from your school, I know you go on that road, I feel safe, right?
And big up yourself today. You know what I think it is? I think Father's Day coming up around. Yeah. So we get you full props in this one, right? Where was I going with this now?
I know. You see now.
Oh gosh, I hate when this happens. It's happening on camera.
You got a blank.
We were talking about picking lanes.
Yeah, picking lanes, right?
I'm picking. You? I can't remember what I was trying to say. Anyway, keep talking. They're gonna come back.
So, one of my students called me. I said, Fabian, boy, jeez, I had an experience today, boy, and I hear everything you taught me, right? I was coming across
I remember
Black Rock.
But go ahead. I won't let you lose your thought.
I came across Black Rock, and the transport bus stopped by the bus stop, and a car that was behind the transport boy car and another car started to pull to the right to overtake. So he pulled to the right to the same thing because he knew that he had the room. The car that was in front, the car that was overtaking, which the car was behind the bus, he decided to stop right next to the bus to let a passenger to get in the bus. He trying to stop the bus, man. That don't move. Allow the passenger. No indicator, none. So in the middle of the road, blocking off the road. So he said he had nowhere to go and he had nothing to brake because he had no accelerator to pass the vehicle. And he just remember me saying, look for the space. And he saw the space immediately in front of him and he pulled to the right, further to the right, and he went through the space. Braking at the same time, but allowing himself enough room that he could stop. And when he cleared the two cars, when he accelerated, gave the two people some cuss words, and he went ahead. But he said that moment, if he didn't remember that, he would have run in the back of that car.
Yeah, life-saving tips. Which reminds me what I was going to say. The school has, so far, and again, not my word, a no death rate. None of Fabian's students have ever gotten in. They've gotten in accidents. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. They ain't perfect. But we've not had any deaths. And you
that
should
is
feel real good.
Yeah, over 300 students out come through the school so far.
You should feel real good.
Yeah, and that's what I want. I want to always have that record moving forward.
Nice. Well, we kind of winding down. I just want to think through if there's anything really important about the writing school. We are building on it. We still have a few I's to dot and T's to cross, but the school is doing really well. We have a lot of ladies now.
Yeah, a lot of females coming out, boy.
But not the young ones, the older ones.
A lot of females coming out.
Who are coming out. I'm talking about 40, 50, 60 who are coming to us. They've always wanted to learn. That the generation, I want to say, in their 50s and 60s perhaps would have had the unfortunate social indoctrination, I use my words very specifically, that there are things that women either shouldn't do or can't do. And they just want to break that. And they've been coming and they've been trying. And I love it. I love to see how they're progressing. We have, as we said, moms bringing their sons. We have people who are just reviewing, trying to just improve on their skills. We have couples that come to do it together. We have policemen, soldiers. We get some of everybody coming to our writing school.
The other day, I went in the course yard to drop off some parcels of science and medicine. Some ladies don't know the students' background in terms of where they work and stuff. So it's only when I went in the course yard, I realized everybody was shouting at me. I was like, some of my students were here. I mean, a lot of my past students is
that you didn't know
at the time just working in Coast Guard was like, wow.
Yeah.
I kid you not, over 10 people showed me that in Coast Guard that we went through the school. Like, wait a minute. So so
check out. We got to end off on this line for sure. Check us out, Black Knight Writing School. We're always on Instagram and Facebook. We're always posting videos on different experiences. We have our contact numbers on there as well too. If you want to, we can do different types of packages. You can do one-off lessons. And then when we officially launch the Black Knight Busy Bee School,
Academy,
I'm the Queen Bee.
Yeah, that's true.
And just don't get tired. Everybody talking about this queen being a hive and she's run the roost, but don't forget when I got about 1,000 children in a hive and she's got to take care of all them too. That's queen bee responsibilities. Understand? So that's me, right? But we launching that soon, and I'm really excited about that. And we're gonna just keep growing with the school.
Yeah, we just gotta thank too. Through that same comment, we gotta thank Soul Election coming on board. We want our sponsors, Nancy.
Yeah,
always a big supporter. We want to thank Ibrahim from
Bravo Auto Spares, always there for us as well too.
Yeah, we want to thank Bilad from A&B Rear and Supplies. Yeah, man, we got some people that's really
And of course, we want to thank the team at Be Social Podcast. Yeah. We have this cameraman who's sat on here very patiently listening to us today. And we want to thank James for giving us this space. Yeah. And we're just going to keep growing with the show. So tune in. We know it's a little long, but you can still play when you're cooking or, you know, when you're laying down in bed at night and you want to get a little conversation going. And we really want you to message us. You can find me individually. I am clearly a sunflower. And this is Mr. Fabulous on IG. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you have any topics that you think are really important that we need to approach, we have no problem with that conversation. Leave comments if we can improve, anything. Be open, be cool, we ready to talk.
Yeah. So that's it.
Life in red and black, man.
Life in red and black, man. Yeah.